Bring all these people together from around the country. We have Steve Austin, who came from Birmingham. We have Sarah Schuster, who came from Los Angeles. We have Janine Hoff. Did I mess it up? No. Who came from Florida. We have Michelle Hammer, who came from Queens. We have Sakina Kaiser coming from Maryland. We got Kate Byrne coming from Maine. Michelle, don't be paranoid, you look great. We got Jennifer Ginyard coming from Brooklyn. Stephanie Page coming from PA. No, wrong. Connecticut. Same thing. Evan coming from Dante's Inferno. It's okay, he lets me make fun of him. We have Joe Panola coming from Dirty Jers. We got Peter Olson coming from Seattle. I gotta look at my list. Elizabeth Levine, is she in the house? I don't know. Okay, well, let's get started. So I'm going to read from my essay. Oh gosh, no, I missed the best person ever. Erica Schwartz, coming from Minneapolis, Minnesota. You gotta save the best for last. Bring it back to the 90s. Hi, Emily. Emily's not reading, but she's freaking awesome.
Yes.
Yay. Stigma Fighters, Sarah Fader. Hi. Hi. My name is Sarah Fader, and I have mental illness. I've lived with panic disorder and depression for my entire adult life. I began having panic attacks as a teenager, and they continued into adulthood. I am a mother of 2 beautiful children. I am a sister, a daughter, a friend, and a human being. I am a survivor, a warrior, a writer, a poet, an actor, and an artist. I am many things, but I am not crazy. Crazy is a derogatory word. Crazy is a curse word in my book, which I have yet to write. Do not call me crazy. Call me brave, call me scared, call me Sarah, but do not call me crazy. Because I'm not. I'm Sarah, and I'm a multitude of other adjectives that don't include that word. I'm your neighbor. I'm sitting next to you on the train. I'm talking to you in the grocery store. I'm smiling at you as we pass one another on the street. I'm just like everyone else you meet, only I'm not, because I live with a significant mental illness that challenges me every day. My mental illness is like an annoying neighbor who won't get the hint when you want her to go home. My mental illness is like my nemesis. It fools me. It tells me I'm worthless. It tells me to give up. It tells me to stop. Go no further. Don't do that. Don't succeed. You are not enough. You're not worthy. I fight those thoughts every day. But here's the thing. Someone you're sitting next to in a coffee shop is just like me. But they won't tell you that. Mentally ill people living among us, they're just silenced continually by our society. So stop, look around you, and know that if you've been called crazy, you're not alone. I'm standing beside you, waving my freak flag high, because I'm taking crazy back. You can't have it anymore. There is no crazy. There's only human. Thank you. I'm taking crazy back. Sorry, I had to bring Jay Timberlake in there. The next speaker is one of my best friends in the entire universe. She is an LMSW. I always mess that up, but I got it right? She's a social worker. Yeah. Anyways, Jennifer Ginyard is amazing. She is featured in the Stigma Fighters Anthology, Volume 2. Welcome, Jennifer.
Can I get some Xanax?
I shouldn't say that.
I have some.
first happened.
Okay, Sarah, I'm short.
I was at summer camp in Pennsylvania. I couldn't breathe. I could feel the air slipping away and I couldn't get it back into my lungs. I swore in that moment that my heart was going to stop beating. It was over. I would die. Miles away from my mother. The next time she would see me, I would be in a casket. But I didn't die. I didn't even pass out. Gradually, I was able to calm down. My host mother helped me settle down, catch my breath, and breathe slowly. I didn't know it then, but this was my first panic attack. I can't remember what brought it on, the catalyst. All I knew is that it felt terrible, and I never wanted to experience it again. It was also the beginning of my obsessive-compulsive disorder. Little did I know, but my anxiety was at its height. I didn't have the insight to recognize that all the abuse, the neglect, the molestation, and the violence all led up to me being in a consistent state of anxiety. And then the thoughts began. The intrusive thought that made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. Images would flash in my head almost every second of the most terrible things I could imagine, and I had no idea how to stop them. I would cry, laugh, and tell them to go away, but they wouldn't let up. And then the obsessive counting and having to say things or do things in a certain way just to feel normal, if only for a while. It gradually got worse during my adolescence to the point where I contemplated suicide. I knew I didn't want to die. I just wanted the thoughts to stop. I began therapy in high school with a wonderful social worker who helped me work towards stabilization. Throughout my early 20s, my anxiety wasn't as bad, but it was still present. It wasn't until I got into an abusive marriage that my anxiety and OCD kicked up again. Once again, I found myself battling with intrusive thoughts and panic attacks. It became clear that stress was a trigger for me. After leaving my marriage, I once again committed to therapy and completed my second master's in social work. It shouldn't be that difficult to understand why I decided to enter the field of social work considering my experiences. There's an old saying that clearly depicts why someone with mental health issues may gravitate towards working with others that face similar issues. We work on ourselves in order to help others, but we also help others in order to work on ourselves. I'm currently working in that's past, but whatever. I'm currently working in an outpatient substance abuse clinic in East Harlem. I'm actually working for a managed care company. For some, their mental illnesses are chronic and persistent and impact their daily functioning. I empathize when I hear clients say things like they wish they were normal and they didn't have to struggle daily. I empathize with their pain and uncertainty because I have experienced it and continue to struggle with my own mental health issues. This is why I truly believe in Stigma Fighters' mission. It is tremendously difficult for people to even have the courage to admit that they are struggling with mental health. It's imperative that we stop dehumanizing and demonizing people who are struggling with things that we don't understand. Stigma makes people reluctant to get treatment, and lack of treatment impacts society as a whole. The solution is not to lock crazy people up, but to let people who are mentally ill know that they are not alone, that there are services that they can utilize, and that it is possible to live a healthy life despite their challenges.
Yes, and I'm afraid that I may have given off the wrong impression. I was eating at the open food area, but I have OCD. I trust all of you are clean and don't go by my flashing of colors.
We have to find you.
Thank you, Sarah. I was wondering before when you didn't say my last name if you had maybe forgotten.
I did.
Evan Morgenstern, obsessive compulsive disorder. I realized something was different when I was in grade school. When I was 6, the compulsions were small, like scratching my nose exactly 5 times, or touching part of my bedpost before I went to sleep. But as I grew, so did they. Even though we were not a religious Jewish family, I would pray every night, worried that my prayers wouldn't count if they were interrupted. If I was interrupted, I thought I'd have to start over so I didn't incur God's wrath. Once when I was 9, I peed myself during prayer. I was afraid to tell my dad about the accident and embarrassed by the thoughts I knew I couldn't explain. When I finally told my dad, all he said was, "When you have to go, go." Part of the difficulty of being a child with OCD is that adults often chalk up odd behavior to kids being kids. Adults misdiagnose or may not truly be aware of the true nature of the problem. In my teens, OCD started affecting my social life. Part of my OCD included germophobia, and as my high school years predated the use of hand sanitizer, I'm old, I had a hard time. The bathrooms in my 4,000 student high school were atrocious, and I spent long periods of time wiping down toilet seats with little packets of tissues I brought for the occasion. When I finished, I often washed my hands until they bled. I hoped the teachers would be okay with my time out of class and that other students wouldn't assume I had severe stomach issues. Regularly getting upper respiratory infections, all that hand washing, and having constant sore throats that kept me, an already shy kid, quiet didn't help either. Avoiding getting sick became a painful challenge. After high school, I wanted to try to have the true college experience and live in a double dorm room. My roommate, however, did not make this easy. He began selling drugs from our room, including LSD, which I had a fear of since the scary PSAs of the 80s, and a teacher who comically worked bad trip warning stories into every subject. The idea of accidentally touching an acid-laced surface in our room and having a bad trip consumed me. When I woke to see him at the foot of my bed one morning, drunkenly peeing on my stuff, I decided it was time for me to go. It was all single units after that. After a year of medicating myself to sleep with full doses of NyQuil, I realized I needed to change. Obsessive thoughts kept me up at night. I worried repeatedly that a person would break into my apartment with a baby, stick my dirty fingers in the baby's mouth, and cause the baby to get sick and die. I checked my car more than 12 times one night. I couldn't stop thinking that if it wasn't parked exactly within the lines, and a woman would have to park far away, she would have to walk through the dark and then be attacked. I dropped out of classes, and when I was down to only 1 hour of sleep a night, I decided to start cognitive therapy with an LCSW. It went well, at least for a while. I felt uncomfortable telling her all my habits. I was reluctant to take medication because I felt uninformed about it and worried it would remove whatever introverted personality I had left to offer. I put medical treatment off at first, but now I realize it's necessary and no one should be ashamed. While I think that no amount of therapy or medication will cure me, I believe I have the right to see medical professionals that will work to find out what the best course of treatment is for me.
A loyal stigma fighter, and I'm so psyched that she's here. Hello, Earring.
Oh, man down.
Oh,
Man down.
Earring. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's good. All good.
EMDR, PPD, and self-compassion. Every Monday, I have my therapy appointment. This is for my new therapy that I started a few months ago. It was actually like over a year ago now. EMDR, eye movement desensitization. I'm short, sorry. Eye movement desensitive, that word, and reprocessing. If I tried to explain the exact technique, I think I would confuse you further. What I can say is, it is hard. It was extremely hard in the beginning, recounting memories that often brought me to tears, and hyperventilation. I'm having trouble, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I swear I speak English.
Listen, I couldn't pronounce your last name.
It's Trisna, by the way.
Trisna. Go Trisna.
Yet I give this form of therapy 2 thumbs up as I have slowly and gradually begun to forgive myself. My therapist has been all over my head in the last few months, starting with my recent severe depressive episode to my blocking belief that I don't deserve to get better. While the latter is no more an issue, I have yet to return to everything that has happened a little over 2 years ago now. As we have progressed in therapy, he and I realized that my postpartum depression and anxiety affected the latest and greatest episode of depression. So we dove into that time in my life. My therapist asked me to sum up my whole postpartum depression and anxiety episode and then determine which memory is the most painful. It wasn't too easy to choose. Those months were a time frame I would like to forget, and one I thought I was emotionally over. I was not. Thinking back, the most painful memory was myself sitting in the ER with my mother next to me waiting to be seen. It was the old ER, as my local hospital has recently been renovated. Low ceiling and beige walls. The office chairs had gray fabric and black plastic handrails. The room felt so small it was pure chaos. To the right of me, there were check-in stations with the workers behind a half-wall of glass above the desks. To the left of me, there were more of these common office chairs filled with other people waiting to be seen. In front of me, there was a wall with a floral framed picture, and then the entrance to the ER was to the front left. Although the other people in the room were talking and moving, I was slightly out of my body in my own pure hell that I was still unaware of. My main reason for going to the ER was the simple fact that I must be malnourished and dehydrated, since that everything that went in my body quickly came out. I was rocking back and forth with my hands gripped so hard on the handrails that they were in pain. In addition to this, I was shivering as if the temperature had dropped to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Hyperventilation was present and tears streamed out of my eyes nonstop. When did this happen, my therapist asked. Exactly 1 month after Sophia, my daughter, was born, I said. Let's go with that, he said. That was my cue to close my eyes and allow the TheraTappers to do their work. Buzz in my left hand, then my right, repeatedly. I started looking at postpartum Stephanie, and as anxiety churned my stomach, I could feel tears well up. I wanted to hug her. What do you feel, he asked. Sadness for her. She must have been scared. She has never been through this before. Been through? My therapist encouraged. The intense anxiety, the panic attack. This is new. All my bouts before were just depressive. This was my first experience where anxiety made an appearance. What do you think you needed back then? Someone to have done something for you? Said something to you? The first round of EMDR with this question stumped me. I had the support of my family. I was seeing a psychiatrist and a therapist. I was on medication. What did I need back then? What would have helped me? We tried again and instantly it came to me. I needed someone who had been through postpartum depression and anxiety to tell me everything would be okay. I would have believed that person because they would have experienced what I had or something similar. All these other people telling me it would be okay didn't help. They didn't know what I was going through. The postpartum community was so small back then, almost 10 and a half years ago. My therapist continued, put yourself in the ER, yourself now. Think about it. What are you doing? What might you say to yourself now? He turned the TheraTappers back on. I closed my eyes and returned to that scene. The present me was kneeling on the floor of the ER with my hands on the knees of the postpartum version of myself. I could see myself rocking back and forth, truly scared for myself because I had no idea what I was going through. My current touch and instant connection to the feelings inside of my head then. I tightened my squeeze and looked up at my old face. I focused on the blank stare I had on the wall ahead as I rocked back and forth. I noticed the fear in my mother's eyes at the time, as she wondered what was going on with her child. I turned back to the postpartum version of my face and spoke, it will be all right. You will be okay. I know you will be okay because I've been there. The second I said I'd been there, the postpartum version of me focused directly on the current me, and the old version of me stopped shaking. I kept repeating my words over and over. I know because I've been there. It was the first time I showed my postpartum self some self-compassion.
Peter is amazing. We met through mental health advocacy online, and he is super, super rad. So please welcome him.
Hi. So, whoops. So this isn't in the book. And so for the next 4 minutes, if any of you are triggered by depictions of suicide and self-harm and a lot of cursing, then maybe you can buy some of these books. for the next 4 minutes, maybe? Okay. I'm not nervous. Okay. You're nothing. You're a loser. You're shit. I've heard these 7 words in different incarnations from different people throughout my life. I've heard these 7 words so much that I really started to believe it. These 7 words are burned in my consciousness. They haunt me like malicious apparitions, happily waiting to eviscerate my soul. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. These words became my mantra. These words became my hope, my dreams, my fear, and my fucking reality. I have now become these words. I am hate and lies and darkness and death. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. These words came from the woman I loved. To heaven to hold from this day forth, you may kiss the bride. I loved you with all my heart and soul. She said she loved me. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. I trusted you, I loved you, I gave you everything and much, much more. And you just gave up, you fucking coward. You said you loved me, you bitch, you said you loved me. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. Crying, cutting, bleeding, rocking back and forth, knowing this is the end. This is where I've come to die. All alone in the middle of a hotel room in Southwest Washington State. Too scared and too embarrassed to tell my family and close friends. Too far gone to ask for help. They would never believe me. Shame, so fucking ashamed. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. My belt is laying on my bed. It wants to help me in my sadness. It wants to be my friend. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. This is going to be the end. She said she fucking loved me. I'm rocking back and forth, hysterical, uncontrollable, so lost, so fucking lost. I can't stop crying. I can't stop crying. I can't fucking stop crying. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. Those words are getting louder, unbearable, really loud, really fucking loud. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. These voices are laughing at me, they're laughing at me. Wasted, pathetic life you are, said the voices. No one will love you now. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. I slowly walk to the bathroom, legs are bleeding, cuts, shallow cuts. I step into the bathtub and wrap the belt around my neck, cinch it tighter, make this fucking hurt. I throw the other part of the belt around the plastic shower curtain rod. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. I tried to jump down on my knees, but the shower curtain breaks towards me. My body slams against the tiled wall behind me. I crumble into pieces in the bathtub, bloody, bruised, and broken. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. I can't stop crying. I can't stop fucking crying. Someone help me. Someone fucking help me. You said you loved me, you bitch. You said you loved me. You're nothing, you're a loser, you're shit. I'm rocking back and forth in the bathtub in the middle of the hotel room with a belt wrapped around my neck, all alone, too scared to share with my family and my very close friends. This is where I've come to die. I can't stop crying. I can't stop fucking crying. She said she loved me. She said she loved me.
Can you hear me? It's okay?
Right closer?
Yeah. Closer? Yeah. Closer. Yeah, intimate?
Yes. Just that mic.
Yeah. How did I get here? It's a question I used to obsess over, feeling distraught over what I felt were the world standards for my age versus what I had actually accomplished at that point in time. I grieved how much I felt was stolen from me because of my mental illness and wondered if I could achieve my heart's desires or if I'd missed my chance. 17 years into my journey with mental illness, I feel like I'm on the path to do what I was truly meant to do in life. I began my journey with mental illness around age 14. My grandma recently told me that she has a vivid memory of when she first noticed something wasn't quite right. She was telling my family and me that she and my grandpa were moving halfway across the country. In the midst of the conversation, she realized I had zoned out. I was staring off into nothingness and failed to be present in the moment, so much so that I didn't even acknowledge her when she called me by name. The suicidal ideations also began at age 14. I had intensely violent thoughts about how to end my life. I was incredibly moody, with highly fluctuating emotions throughout the day, struggling to deal with life's normal daily problems. It was originally assumed that my issues were strictly hormonal, so I was placed on birth control pills by my primary doctor to bring my body back into balance. Little did we all know that my mental instability was much, much worse than just being out of whack hormonally. I had my first inpatient hospital stay in the last week of my junior year of high school. It wasn't until then that it was determined I had severe clinical depression. I was put on antidepressants and thus began my years-long journey of seeing therapists and psychiatrists working to get me on the right treatment plan. I'd be stable for a while and was committed to therapy. Then when the regular ebbs and flows of life set me on a downward spiral emotionally, my treatment plan would be reevaluated. The emotional instability continued throughout college. I had a low self-esteem, not sure of my place in the world, and wondered if I would ever be able to get my act together to even graduate. I did miraculously graduate, but I was so disappointed in myself that it took me 5 years instead of 4. My family was proud of me and told me that I should be proud too. Proud of what I overcame to push through and finish college, and proud that I had obtained a degree that would open a lot of doors for me. My long-standing, unrealistic standards for myself and perfectionistic tendencies highlighted the extra year it took to graduate, and therefore I was not overly proud. Post-college life continued to be a struggle. I wasn't getting jobs that allowed me to be self-sufficient. I was an excellent worker and constantly proved myself, but I always felt that I fell short. My relationships with the people closest to me in life were unstable. I was hostile towards my parents, I was incredibly clingy to any guy I dated, and was continually desperate to find a group of friends where I felt I could fit in. My second and third hospital stays were in the fall of 2008. I'd given up on hope that life would be any better. I was 24, recently lost my job due to health issues, and the foreseeable future was grim. Due to my despair, I planned the date and method I would use to end my life. I don't even remember how it happened, but my then therapist got me to confess that I planned to die by suicide when my parents were on vacation. I was immediately sent to the hospital and had back-to-back inpatient stays until I was deemed stable enough to be released from the safety net of the hospital. I started to feel a bit more hopeful during the winter of 2009, and my psychiatrist and I made the determination together that my long-standing emotional instability was actually bipolar 2 instead of major depressive disorder. Life started to make a bit more sense. My impulsive behaviors, intense mood shifts, and severe depression all fit within the scope of this new diagnosis. With medication changes and continued therapy, I remained stable for several years. I developed very close friendships with a consistent group of people, maintained a solid work history, and had a serious boyfriend. My hopes for life spiraled downward again after a major life change in 2014 failed to work out. It was supposed to be my big break, moving me in the direction toward my dreams of helping others, being financially independent, and working with those in my inner circle. When things fell through, I questioned my choices in life, my ability to handle significant life shifts, and to get back to a life that was emotionally stable. I eventually found hope again. I got a job working for a company with a vision that I bought into. I made some great new friends and began to feel confident in my ability to accomplish all my dreams. And again, I was fairly stable emotionally. I enjoyed life and looked forward to what God had planned for my life. And then I stopped taking my meds cold turkey. After all that I gained was lost again. I had my 4th and 5th inpatient stays in May and July of this year, which was actually 2015 when I wrote this. My diagnosis was changed yet again. It was determined that I have borderline personality disorder and major depressive disorder instead of bipolar disorder. And then, the last 17 years of my life made even more sense. I felt incredible hope when I learned about dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, during my hospital stay in May. I participated in weekly group and individual therapy, learning practical tools to help me accept and yet manage my emotions and develop stable and healthy relationships. Between DBT and a new medication combination, I finally believe I'm getting what I've needed all this time. And the wind of life is most definitely blowing me in the right direction. I'm now spreading the message of my journey, my struggles and victories with mental illness, and fighting to break down the stigma associated with mental illness. Fellow warriors, you are worth it to make the investment in your recovery journey and into the dreams for your future. It's a day-by-day process, but I truly believe that by sharing our experiences, battling together, and believing in hope, we will all get to where we're going.
So next, I have my homeboy, Steve Alston from Birmingham, Alabama, in the house. Woo woo!
hug right now? Oh my gosh. So good. And how about Sarah Fader? She rocks. I mean, we're here because we're all badasses, but like we're here because you're a badass. So thanks for being a badass. You rock. Somebody should make a foundation about that. Oh wait.
Oh wait, don't Noah.
Oh wait, Joe.
Subtle, Steve.
Oh, subtle. Sorry, I don't do subtle. Let me get there.
Oh wait, one more thing about Steve.
Oh, don't.
I have to.
But you were so nice.
No, it's good. It's good.
Oh.
Steve's voice is a natural
Shut
antidepressant.
up.
It's like molasses and sweet tea.
Oh. When I didn't show up for an out-of-town assignment, my clients were concerned. When they couldn't reach me, they called first my wife and then the hotel. The police and EMTs found me mid-morning unconscious. They thought it was a murder scene. Blood-red vomit covered the bed and the floor. It had projected up the wall behind me and coated a massive picture that hung over the bed. Apparently the pink Benadryl pills, along with the tens of thousands of milligrams of other, created the effect of blood. By then I had been unconscious for a solid 10 hours. I should have been dead. 18 hours after I blacked out, I woke up in a fog like I've never experienced before. Where the hell am I? Why is it so cold in here? Wait a second. Am I in the hospital? Shit. I'm still here? You can't seriously mean that I'm alive. Do you know how much I took? This is really bad. My son's first birthday was the next day. I don't know what his birthday party was like. I was still in ICU, nearly dead. 3 days later, the doctor decided my liver wasn't going to fail and I'd regained feeling in my legs. I was released and immediately transferred to the psych ward. The psych ward. Me, the former worship leader, youth pastor, radio host, blogger, ministry school graduate. Me, the father, the husband, the outgoing one, the friendly one, the upbeat one. Me. I was sitting in a wheelchair, headed to the psych ward. I stayed there for 5 days. I called it the arts and crafts floor. We colored and talked and rested. I couldn't sleep the first night because it was too quiet. The experience felt pointless and frustrating and humiliating and so uncomfortable. It's been over 5 years now since the darkest days of my life and I'm still standing. I still have harsh flashbacks at times. For a while I couldn't stand black coffee. Thank you, Sarah Schuster. I can't now. I remember crushing up those thousands of milligrams of medicine and pouring the powder into the hot mug, stirring it up and choking it back that night. The smell, the taste, even the thought of black coffee for months after would send me into a full-blown panic attack. But I'm no longer afraid of my demons. We all have skeletons in our closets, and as loud as they may scream for our attention, love's power is greater. Once I came to the end of myself, I began to find my true self. I'm coming out of a lifelong pattern of shame and stepping away from the expectations of performance-based religion. I'm learning to be honest with myself and others about my struggles, and I no longer internalize everything. I have found the love that is a belonging, a safe place, a fierceness that will not let me go. I've learned to find the beauty in imperfection and revel in it. And I've learned to enjoy silence. I've also learned that my family is a gift. If the eyes are the windows to the soul, mine weren't empty that day. They were just forgetful. They'd forgotten to look for the joyful things in life. If I could say anything to someone who's struggling, it's this: life is worth living. It's worth fighting through all the hard times, the dry times, the lean times, the mean times. Cut through the busyness and the bullshit and figure out what on earth you're doing here. What's your reason for getting out of bed every morning? Do that with all your heart. Get alone and get quiet and figure out what it is that still makes your heart beat. I took a mulligan that day. In golf, a mulligan is literally a do-over. It's taking another shot from the point of the foul as if the first mistake never happened. Friday, September 21st is my mulligan day. It's the day I was given a do-over at life.
I'm really short. I'm probably the shortest one here. I don't recall exactly when it hit me, but it hit, and when it did, I was lost. One minute, I was the epitome of the girl who had everything, successful, with a beautiful family and a wonderful home. The next, I was in a wild vortex, unable to escape. I was jobless, hopeless, and wondering what, if anything, the future had in store. If you're OCD, bipolar, anxiety-ridden, or like me, all of the above, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The unrelenting perfectionism, the nonstop workaholic, and the need to help everyone and everything around you. There I was, left with nothing but fear and worthlessness. I was stuck in the daunting world of my own rumination. Losing my job was an epic, devastating turn of events. My so-called life's purpose was snatched away in a cold boardroom by an unfamiliar lawyer who made me feel as valuable as a cardboard box. Sick, scared, and overwhelmed, I ended up in the ER in my pajamas because coping with something of this magnitude was just not my forte. The random police officer who stood guard in the ER listened intently as I recalled what landed me on the gurney. He suggested I think of the film Jerry Maguire. Naturally, my brain pulled up Cuba Gooding Jr. shouting, "Show me the money," and multiple references to my alma mater, Arizona State. But in a rare moment of clarity, I understood. None of this is worth it if your life has no meaning other than one thing. In my case, my work became my addiction, my remedy, and the cause of my illness. While staring up at the fluorescent lights from my bed in the hall of the city hospital, I thought about a side project that I had been toying with in my mind. Combining my love of inspirational quotes, education, humor, art, and all-around positivity, I started Where is the Sunshine? Why sunshine? It's simple. As a musician and former music educator, I recall the countless song lyrics meant to motivate. Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I got a pocket full of sunshine. I'm gonna soak up the sun, and so on. I realize for people like us, it's nearly impossible to think the sun will ever return, or better yet, the storm will ever end until it's over. I kept thinking, when will my sun return? Where is the sunshine everyone keeps talking about? Metaphorically speaking, all I could see were brooding clouds and the tornado that was my life spiraling out of control. I guess you could say my song should have been stormy weather. But I found my sunshine. I found the way for me to heal just by spreading positivity and hope. I have learned more about all types of illnesses like PTSD, eating disorders, schizophrenia, and suicide. But I also learned that spreading happiness across social media can be cathartic. I learned even more about the stigma these illnesses face, and they are not considered the same as a broken leg, diabetes, or cancer. People run from mental health disorders. It frightens them, for they equate it with danger, sensitivity, fear, and instability. The reality is, these illnesses need to be met with love, support, encouragement, and understanding, for this is the key to healing. Therapy, medication, exercise, nutrition, and other forms of treatment are necessary, but your support system is what makes them effective. Most people face mental illness alone, afraid to tell others. For those who are open, reactions are varied. The online community is probably the most welcoming place for those with a mental health disorder, as the support runs worldwide. Admittedly, the concept of support from strangers is unusual, but I have witnessed strength by the thousands. The irony is that people online tend to say and comment about what is ever on their minds, both good and bad. But when it comes to battling a mental illness, whether it be depression, postpartum, social anxiety disorder, or suicidal thoughts, the resources and support are there, and they really do help. In my case, the online communities have inspired me to want to go out and share my message with others. Getting involved with NAMI and Active Minds and similar organizations have given me a renewed purpose. I love helping others and inspiring people, but I've learned to also practice gratitude, to live in the moment and appreciate everything I have. Nothing, especially a job, is worth feeling hopeless or worthless. There are other jobs, schools, society, and organizations out there, but there is only one you. I'm glad I found my sunshine.
out that a loved one is HIV positive, one struggles with how to respond, but hugs and love typically ensue. Hell, when one finds out a loved one has a cold, soup and orange juice will happen. But when one finds out that a friend or loved one is suffering from major depression or any other mental health issue, there aren't questions about how to respond appropriately. In the absence of a guidebook, sometimes there's no reaction at all, but worse than no reaction is a verbal or non-verbal eye roll. After all, there are so many people who see mental health issues as fake or manufactured. I know that even as someone who's been diagnosed as an adult with ADHD and major depression, I sometimes mentally roll my eyes when I hear about 6 and 7-year-olds being diagnosed with ADHD. Part of me wonders how much is ADHD and how much is them being 6 or 7. But that doesn't mean there's no validity in these diagnoses. When someone who does fight these battles every day questions said diagnoses, why are we surprised when folks not facing the situations question the diagnoses' validity? The questions one endures when one suffers from mental health issues are insulting and hurtful. They're not always, how can we help you? They're, what went so wrong in your life? What happened? Did someone hurt you? And yes, those do often play a part in the mental health issues one's trying to alleviate, but not always. I mean, I'll be honest, my life is cushy. I've not just friends who love me, who refuse to give up on me, but family who won't do so either. I have not endured abuse, I haven't been assaulted, sexually or physically. I have a job, I have a roof over my head, I have a whole slew of comforts that many of the United States, let alone the rest of the world, don't have. But for the most part, the only ones asking what they can do to help are friends and loved ones facing their own health issues, mental or otherwise. I can't speak for others, but I hate to talk with them about what I'm going through when I know they already have so much on their plates. Another thing, everything has a ribbon nowadays. From XYZ cancers to autism to this, that, the other disease that affects 1% of the population. And that's great. Awareness and funds need to be raised for these causes because they are so important and touch so many. But when it comes to mental health issues, we don't get a ribbon. Don't get me wrong, I don't want a ribbon. I doubt there are many people experiencing mental health issues who would want a ribbon. But I wish mental health issues would cease to be taboo. Cease to be seen as something that only affects the bad kids. Cease to be thought of as something far rarer than they actually are. Don't take this to mean that I want more people to experience mental health issues. I don't. It means I want fewer people to feel ashamed of their mental health issues. Okay, I don't want anyone to feel ashamed of their mental health issues. And I don't know if, even if a cure was miraculously found for my mental health issues, I would pursue it. After all, my mental health issues are a big part of what makes me, me. I wouldn't recognize me without my major depression or ADHD, but the thought that people who are looking for a cure are considered quacks or kooks or unworthy of funding because of the fake illness they're trying to cure is absurd and insulting. Mental health issues lead to death and injury much like heart disease does. Yes, sometimes it's easier to see the scars that come from mental health battles, but if you're good at hiding the self-injury, it's a lot harder to pinpoint where the sickness is. A cure for cancer or AIDS may be a long way away, but at least there's a target for the bright minds in the science fields to attack. When I can't find the words to describe how I hurt, when I don't feel justified feeling hurt, there's nothing clear-cut for scientists and doctors to attack. When my major depression is different than that of Joey or Jenny or whomever, even though we've all been diagnosed with major depression, it's going to be tough for doctors and scientists to figure out just what they should be trying to cure. And often people talking about curing mental health issues aren't talking about vanquishing the issues, but more about fixing the issues. That sort of language choice implies that we're not okay just the way we are. Do we need something to regulate our feelings and thoughts? Sure, yes, but that doesn't mean we're not okay the way we are. Just like receiving chemotherapy doesn't make you less of a person because you're trying to kill the cancer cells.
little context before I read this very short piece that Sarah generously allowed me to contribute to the latest anthology. Over this most recent winter, I went to a really cool retreat organized by another organization called Suffering in Silence. And we did this really amazing exercise where everyone there, regardless of what they're dealing with, depression in my case, Lyme disease, and fibromyalgia and other stuff like that, where you literally write to your illness. And then, what turned out to be a very scary part for me, replying as your illness. So that's what I started with, but because of how dark that last part was, I was compelled to write yet another reply. So there was an empowering context to this thing, because that's what we all need in the end, right? Dear Depression. Ooh, did I just ruin it? Ruin her. Thank you, sir.
All right. Dear Depression, I need you to know that you are not me. Your incessant insults may make me briefly believe that I am all the terrible things you tell me, but I now know that I am none of them. I am worthy of love. I am strong. I am handsome. I am enough. The weak, unlovable, ugly monster you portray me as in the funhouse mirror of my mind is a lie. No matter how many times you tell it to me, it will never be true. You can keep talking, and I wish I could refuse to listen, but we share a body, so that's not an option. But despite being housed in the same shell, we are different. Your voice is not mine. I am not you. Sincerely, Joseph. Weakling, how dare you question me? You don't deserve the voice you think you have. Stop pretending you are separate from me. We are one and the same. This voice you think you have is an illusion. You are the liar. To believe you're anything other than what I tell you will only delude you and to lead to false hope. How could you believe you're anything other than a waste of life? Everyone hates you. Those whispers you hear and those glances you see are clearly others mocking you. Listen to me if you want to stay safe. Listen to me if you want to escape the pain. This husk you briefly allow yourself to be proud of is a prison, and the only way out is blood. Your throat demands to be emptied of it. Bleed and be free. Your master. Dear Depression, I am tempted to rage in response, but I am a peaceful warrior, and my confidence is strong enough without needing to yell as you do. I know that screaming will only fuel your fire and burn our mind. Yes, our mind. Not yours, not mine, ours. I refuse to believe you are me, but I also refuse to believe you don't exist. I've tried pretending I don't hear you. I've tried drowning you out with drugs and alcohol, only to watch you breathe bourbon and swim. When I resist, you persist. So now I choose to swim with you. I have the power of choice. I get to choose, not you. You will always be hungry, but I am the one who chooses whether or not to feed you. You have been thriving on this diet of despair and anger, and you will starve without them. So I now have a hunger for hope, and I will ingest inspiration and love and let all the lies I used to lap up rot. You can rant and rave all you want, but I don't have to listen to you. I can choose whether or not I want to. I can choose love instead of hate. I can choose gratitude instead of resentment. I can choose to thank you for making me so self-aware. So, with that in mind, I choose to see you as a blessing instead of a curse. And I choose to be proud of my scars instead of embarrassed by them. You want me to believe that they are cracks that make me broken, but I'm in no need of fixing.
Those cracks are an invitation. They allow others to see the light in me that you have tried so desperately to suffocate in darkness. You've always told me that I'm a mistake, but I now know that I'm a gift. Thank you for showing me that. Love, Joseph.
Okay, I wrote this after we did the hashtag, the initial one. Wait, what's it called again?
This is what anxiety feels like?
Yeah, remember you had us write articles about?
Yes.
So this is
what
my-
anxiety feels like. So this is for response.
Yeah, this is my second article for Stigma Fighters. So, okay. Actually, I can't see it, so. For me, social anxiety is like this. It's not wanting people to look at me when I put on makeup because they might see my flaws, but then not wanting them to ignore me either because that hurts my feelings as a highly sensitive person. It's not wanting to feel their eyeballs on my skin because that sets my nerves ablaze and I can't handle that feeling. It literally makes me want to jump out of my own skin jacket on a regular basis. Social anxiety is saying things and immediately wanting to take them back because I can hear the echo in my own head and I can't stand the sound of my words. They are always wrong and too loud. My laughter is cacophonous. I laugh like a hyena on steroids. Social anxiety is going by two names because I don't want to offend either my religious community or my parents, and I can't make up my mind which name I should use at the age of 42. So I use both still. When people ask what my name is, I hesitate. I don't want to offend myself either. Social anxiety when I was younger was getting my hand slammed in a car door while I was sitting in the backseat of a friend's car and being too scared to tell her mom that she had hurt me. So I just sat there while the car took off. I quietly mouthed the words, ouch, my hand, so as not to be offensive. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. When the adults finally understood what happened, obviously they were more upset that I hadn't loudly said my hand was caught in the door. I was embarrassed then that I hadn't spoken up. Social anxiety didn't allow me to defend myself that day, so nobody ever realized what had happened and why I stayed quiet. Social anxiety for me means not getting my needs met on a regular basis and sometimes being in harm's way. It's feeling a sense of loneliness that threatens my sanity to its core, but not wanting to be around people for fear of being judged and laughed at. Social anxiety is like a prison for me. It's feeling like I don't fit in with any of my friends or family members, no matter how hard I try, and wishing that I did. That's not going to gatherings because I can't stand the way my outfit looks, and I'm sure other people feel the same way about my clothes. It's being sure people are judging my body and the way I look in my clothes, even though I'm losing weight. It's anticipating responses to conversations that I've had in my head, and fleshing out full dialogue with people days in advance so I know what they might say to me, then getting mad at them for their part in the imagining conversation. Social anxiety makes me a mind reader at times too. It's writing replies to people online or in text and immediately regretting what I said because they don't respond right away. Was I offensive? Did I say the wrong thing? Do they not like me anymore? Are they mad at me? The questions always plague me until I wish I hadn't said anything in the first place. Social anxiety is wishing I were muted sometimes. It's wanting to stay quiet when I read what's going on in my friends' lives online because I'm afraid if I chime in and comment, they'll say it's none of my business. Social anxiety robs me of the ability to understand normal social conventions and how to interact with people in a typical fashion, which is why I'm often more comfortable staying home by myself. It's making jokes with people, then immediately thinking I've hurt their feelings or crossed some line of acceptability and apologizing profusely until I become annoying or end up actually committing a social faux pas. It makes me think I'm always stepping on toes, that I'm hurting people's feelings and that I'm doing the wrong thing. Sometimes I wish there were a book of social interactions that I could read to tell me how to be less socially phobic and to fit in better. I feel as though that might help me weather my anxiety better. It's not knowing my turn in a conversation when I'm talking on the phone, so I end up talking at the same time as people are not speaking and leaving awkward silences. Social anxiety makes me not know how to have conversations in a typical fashion. For me, it's so many things on a daily basis. I could say so much more, but I'm afraid I've already annoyed people with the length of this essay. And I feel like I'm complaining, so I'll end here. I hope I haven't bored anybody.
Oh, bugs. There are mice in her kitchen. There are. Anyone has a cat.
I thought you had a kitty.
No, that's actually a dog. Okay. Hello. There we go. Can you hear me? Good? We're all good? Cool. Okay, so this is really hard to explain. I'm not really sure how to do it, but I want to explain what it's like when I talk to myself. So, everybody talks to themselves, well, a little bit, but not like me, not in the way I do it. They don't feel like they're in a different place with different people. They know exactly what their reality is, but I'm gone, zoned out. If you're trying to get my attention, it may take a minute, then I'll snap out of it, but at that point in time, I'm gone. It became harder to hide as I got older, not that it was ever easy to hide. When I first went to college, I lived in a small quad dorm with 3 other roommates, and I tried very hard to silence the talking, but there were those moments that I didn't realize I was speaking. My roommates noticed, but I just told them that I was thinking out loud. That excuse worked for a while, but one time while I thought my roommate was sleeping, she heard me and she told me, "Wow, I could have sworn there was another person in the room the way you were talking." I mean, I talk about a variety of things when I talk to myself. They fall into the broad categories of good or bad. When it's good, I often burst into laughter. Actually, my sophomore year of college, I had a professor who called me up after class and asked me if I was laughing at him while he taught. Yeah. I didn't know how to respond, so I just told him, "I just do that. Sorry. Give me an A." When it's bad, though, it's terrible. I'm in a fight in my head. It's an argument that won't end. Tons of ruminating thoughts that just repeat and repeat over and over again. Thankfully, the bad ones don't happen to me much anymore, which I couldn't be happier about since I've had some various reactions over the years, especially while living in New York City. People have looked at me very strangely on the subway, and I know exactly why. They see me having a chat with an invisible person. I guess I deserved the strange looks they gave me, although I've had some positive reactions too. Once a woman told me I had a Mona Lisa smile. I guess I was having a good talk that day. Another time a man in Starbucks told me that I have great energy and happiness. I guess I was having another great talk that day. It's hard to talk about talking to myself. Sometimes I think there are things I wished would happen or things I wished never happened, and then I think about how I would have done things differently. But sometimes those things I think of never happened, and I don't know which are true and which aren't. Those situations make it hard to trust myself, and if I can't trust my own thoughts, then who can I trust? Fortunately, I have a supportive safety net. My friends, my family, I know I can trust them. That's why I feel so lucky that I am where I am today. About a year ago, I was on the F train sitting near a homeless man. He was talking to himself loudly while he was zoned out. I could tell he didn't know what was real, and I thought about how much of myself I could see in him. Without all the help I've gotten, would I be on the streets? I have to do something, I thought then. I have to make a change. Mentally ill people need help and should not be living on the streets.
Wow.
I will cry if I want to. Henrietta M. Ross. I sit hunched with my knees pulled up to my chest. It's just the sofa, the old standard lamp, and me. I am hiding behind the couch. Breathe. They can't see me, the sofa, with its old gold tassel shrouds me from the window. I wish I could draw the curtains. The doorbell rings. They thought the chime they had chosen was soft and melodic, but it isn't and never has been. Rocking back and forth, I build momentum. I can rock myself right out of here. The doorbell rings again. Ding dong! Please stop. I am on the bridge of a power plant and evacuation is in process. The warning system blasts like a siren inserted in my brain. I feel sick. My head is heavy. I feel like I'm going to topple over. Breathe. The lights flash like lightning bolts. My limbic system feels as if it has caught fire. Heavy footsteps trample my neurons. My brain shakes and spins on its axis and vibrates into my skull. Breathe. It was made of glass. The glass had just blown out. The door was rattling. Could a person outside slip through the letterbox? Is that even possible? Breathe. The doorbell rings again. Someone's finger must be stuck. They will destroy me with an innocent tune. What do they want? Please go away. Go away. Go away. I want to scream. Breathe. Don't scream. They will know you're here. Breathe. Breathe. The doorbell rings again. My chest is tightening. My arm is numb. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. This must be what a heart attack feels like. Call an ambulance. I can't leave the sofa. This is the only safe place. Don't take it away. Don't soil it by death. They're gone. I think they heard me. My back is pressed tight against the door of the cupboard behind me. My brain is on the floor. Shards of glass glisten in the light. Can I turn the light off? How do you put a brain back together again? Humpty Dumpty never managed it. No one teaches you how to reconstruct one's mind when it's crashed. From behind the sofa, I creep into the kitchen. The blinds are open. Could the person come through the front gate, walk around the back of the house, and peer through the window? It's that bird shit on there for weeks. Can't be bothered to clean it. That starling knows the world has turned to shit. We have a symbiotic relationship, the birds and I. I should put a drama in the garden. Invite everyone. Staged out of a cardboard box. I could rig out some lights and cook some sausage rolls. What do I have in my cupboard? There's some beetroot. I don't eat beetroot, so why would I have 10 jars? Who bought 10 jars of pickled beetroot? That's disgusting. A memory floods my brain. It still works. I rub my head and whisper, thank you. I bought the jars. It was for a party for one. I went to the supermarket for party food and bought a whole array of snacks I didn't like. She tried to throw it all out. She put it into a black bag, walked out to the dustbin with a frown, and muttered something they don't understand. My party was killed by black plastic and a woman with a perm. It was completely offensive behavior to ruin someone's fun just because your cupboard is tight for space. You can't keep buying this stuff. You bought 10 copies of the same book last week, but I said I needed 10 copies. I did. People don't understand that pressure. It's pressure the brain. Do as you're told. Bye, bye, bye. Maybe a book party would be a good idea. Forget a yo-yo and a party popper. Forget a cake and a mini box of Smarties. A book on the First World War would be nice. Where are the books? They were stacked up here. Now, is there a pile of clothes with shirts like Pat Butcher wears in EastEnders? Where do they come from? Breathe. I am dressed like Pat Butcher. Is this a good look? Have I been out? Did someone fall over because they were laughing so hard? I cried. I cried about the people not understanding my fashion and innovation. I cried about the people not understanding creativity, color, and form. My head has been in someone's lap. Whose lap, though? Which lap? Where? There were gaps in my memories, days lost, weeks lost with no recall. Space and time were exploding like an asteroid in my brain. There was no linear dimension to give assistance to the filling system. It was like memory banks minus the glue. There was nothing to use as a hook to remember one's life. Bipolar affective disorder. That's what it's called. Beetroot, parties, and World War I in your cupboard. Odd clothes and birds taking a shit. Windows and breath that just comes in gulps. Numb arms and tight chests. Blown brains and shards of glass. Sirens and lights. Warnings. I can hear it. I can hear the doorbell. It's ringing again. This person has come back. This persistent person. Go away. Go away. Go away. Oh, actually, do you want to come to a party? From Los Angeles, California, she works as the editor for the mental health part of the Mighty, Sarah Schuster.
All right, Sarah Sandwich.
Sarah Square.
Sarah Square. Since I'm wrapping up, I did want to make sure we give Sarah Fader one last applause. Although I've been doing the mental health thing for almost 2 years now, I still feel like such a noob, and I've admired your work since the very beginning. And the community you've created, I'm really happy to be here. So this is, oh, I'm Milan. Steve let me borrow his iPad.
Your super secure password.
It's free.
Delete all the tape.
Alright, I also have to admit that I've owed a Sarah piece for a while, and I pretty much wrote this last week for this event. So I feel like I wrote it for you guys. So
Look, her picture on Stigma Fighters is hot.
I know you're just because of her.
She smiled with her eyes.
I called this one What the Negative Thought Bubbles Are Telling Me.
I call them negative thought bubbles.
Ooh.
Because those are the only words I can access at the time. Lying in my high school boyfriend's bed, I explained to him matter-of-factly he has to let me be until all the bubbles pop. Pop, you're a horrible person. Pop, you deserve nothing. Pop, you're fat. Pop, you're the worst. The pressure in my head really does make it feel like my brain is full of bubbles. I can feel them building up in the back of my throat, threatening to spill out of my ears. And the only way to get rid of them, it seems, is to wait and let them pop one by one. Waiting for their turn to be heard, the bubbles tremble with anticipation, and eventually they all get their way. So there I lie, patiently waiting for the process to run its course. Pop. Nobody likes you. Pop. You suck. You suck. You suck. Pop. 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 The first time I think about killing myself, I don't want to kill myself at all. But the words are there, almost stripped of their meaning. A sharp physical poke, rather than something I can actually comprehend. I want to kill myself. Interesting. The words move through my head on repeat, and I startle myself by saying them out loud while walking to class. Staring at my wrist, the word cut hisses from my lips. I don't want to hurt myself, but visualizing it releases an imaginary pressure birthed by real pain. A few years later, my boyfriend, trying to figure out if I have harm OCD, a type of puro where the afflicted is obsessed with the uncertainty that they could hurt themselves or others at any time. He asks if I'm afraid I'm actually going to do it. Do I get nervous when I see a knife? Am I afraid I'm going to lose control? No, I tell him, I'm not afraid I might do it. I want to do it. It's not fear, only release. Whether or not I am capable or willing is irrelevant. I just want to let the pressure out, both with the imagined cut and the words, I want to kill myself. After a while, my brain decides to mix it up, replacing the word kill with murder. I ponder about this word choice, wondering if the word murder seems more deliberate. Sure, you can kill somebody by hitting them with your car, but it's only murder if you see them coming, right? I'm screaming in a bathroom in a bar in New York City. This isn't an exaggeration. I am drunk, I am screaming, and it's horrifying because I can't stop. I can't stop, I tell my boyfriend in the bathroom with me, trying to get me to calm down, both because he's worried for my well-being and afraid someone will hear us and accuse him of hurting me. This is a public bathroom after all, but I won't stop. I want to bang my head against the wall. I try, and he stops me. As the scream desperately climbs its way up my throat, I try to stretch myself, and he pulls my hands away. But I want to. I'm craving it. Why must I sit here in this pain when I know scratching, hurting, hitting will make it better? The screams turn into hyperventilating as the energy finally slows down, and then it stops. It morphs back into an itch. We go to his parents' apartment and sleep on 2 separate couches. I wake up feeling lighter. My head is quieter than it's been in a long time. I start taking 1 pill a day. I tell my therapist I'm sad, but at least I don't think about killing myself all the time. Haha. Words and sentences don't echo around in my head like they used to. At first, I missed it. I don't think about it much anymore. My depression is more dulled and less self-destructive. I can catch it when I see it. Oh, there you are. And I know the negative thought bubbles are not villains, but messengers whose code got hijacked along the way. Sometimes they have something to say. Sometimes they say nothing at all. Regardless, when I shoot them, they grow in strength and size. Instead, I know to decipher them. Usually when I decrypt, I want to kill myself, it simply means something is wrong. This is a powerful shift in my relationship with self-hate. Each day, instead of asking what's wrong with me, I try to have the wisdom to ask, what do I need? So I talk, meditate sometimes. I find hiking clears my mind better than anything else. Crying is also great. Throwing a pillow across the room if necessary. It's energy. The messengers are trying to tell me I need to get it out of me somehow.
want to say thank you for everybody who came today to hear us, and thank you to everyone who read their stories.
Thank you.
Because, thank you so much. Because without your stories, there would be no stigma fighters.